And so just as usual, we are using the examination questions actually to understand, these concepts that we are looking at. And as of today, we have question number one. And so we are still looking at part one. Yeah. And it is reading as I am reading in your hearing. Using an example, differentiate between exploratory and descriptive research. This one, we did this part in our first class. We also had time to look at, the difference between fundamental research as well as, fundamental research is the same as basic research. Yes, sir. How are you? In here? Yes. 29. Maybe, is there anyone here? I'm not know right now. Yeah. So that's what is there. Okay. So what we want to speak to today now, we want to speak to the differences between quantitative research as well as the qualitative research. Okay. Quantitative research as well as the qualitative research. So this is what we actually want to talk about. And let's zero in. We are going to start with the qualitative research. What comes in your mind when you hear qualitative research? We'll differentiate them later on, but as for now, let's try to gain some understanding of what they are. What is qualitative research? Now listen, qualitative research, is simply a kind of or a type of research that is concerned with the qualitative phenomenon or relating to the quality or the kind, of phenomenon. So in simpler terms, qualitative studies, they focus on studying opinions, right? Opinions, ideas, experiences, feelings, of people. Yeah. So it's one of the highly used actually approach of study in behavioral sciences or in social sciences and business. Okay. Qualitative. So here we are studying these phenomenons without using numbers. So the data is collected, without in a form that doesn't involve assignment of numbers or measurements per se. So you don't really actually measure. So that's what happens. So qualitative research, I've already said, it explores the phenomenon through the non-numerical, okay, non-numerical data. It focuses on understanding the meaning, the experiences, the concepts of the people. All right. The concepts as well as the experiences. So that's what you are trying to study. So these issues that you are studying cannot actually be measured using numbers, all right? So the focus of a qualitative study actually, it answers the questions such as why and how, right? So why and how questions, these are key questions that are answered using qualitative research. Okay, so we ask people, why is this like this? Then people start explaining, no, I think this is like this because of that. So people give us data by giving those open-ended explanations. And so when we collect data through that, through those forms of data, then we are able to analyze that particular data. What are we saying? I repeat, in qualitative research, there are no numbers involved per se. So they are mainly words. Words, images, and observations are the key things that are used. Usually, when it comes to the sample size for qualitative study, if you are collecting data, is small, right? Very small sample size. Yeah, but the data is highly detailed that is given. So you find that you'd use methods of collecting data in this kind of research, such as the following. Interviews, right? You will interview people. As you are interviewing people, you ask them open-ended questions. And maybe you may be there to record. You're recording what they are saying. Maybe by a recorder or a phone or something, you are recording what they are saying. After recording, you transcribe, meaning you convert whatever they have been saying in writing. Then you pick themes. And we'll get there in details when you look at data collection as a whole topic. But as for now, get it that this data is actually collected through interviews, through the focus group discussions, where you just put a group of people, then you start asking them questions or give them a topic, then they are discussing, adding what they think they can add. All right. Through case studies, you can use you can collect the data or by observation, just normal or observations. So you can observe how people are living, how they are doing their things, and that is qualitative what? Qualitative research. Are we good? Am I speaking too fast when it comes to qualitative research?
No, you are not.
Do we need an example? Yeah, we need an example. So an example is here. Say, for example, you want to understand. For example, there is just you hear that there is a rampance of maybe early marriages in a certain area. You understand, right? You don't know why that is the cause, why there are these early marriages, right? And you are interested in finding out to know why we have these early marriages. And so you ask a question, questions such as why. You want to understand. Okay, the aim of your study is to understand. So since you want to understand, you ask the question such as why. You will go and they ask the people why. People will start explaining, giving you opinions. Maybe you interview different people. Maybe you interview, let's say, usually between 5 maybe to 25 people. Or maybe 5, 7, 10 people, you're asking them, they're explaining, saying the same things. No, because of this and this and that and that. Okay. You explain questions such as, how is this done? People start explaining what they are thinking. They are expressing their ideas, their opinions. So that is an example of qualitative research. So in qualitative research, usually you just explore, you want to understand, you want to get an explanation of something, long explanation, and then you pick themes from there. That is a qualitative research. Are we good? Can we now shift to quantitative research? You see the difference. Do we have a question on what's this? Quantitative research? Question on quantitative research, qualitative research, before we can go to quantitative.
No question, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's get to quantitative now. Quantitative research, systematically investigates the phenomena through numerical data and statistical analysis. Keyword here is that you are using now numerical data. And the form of analysis that we do here is statistical statistical analysis. You analyze this data not by themes, not by content, but here you analyze this data using statistical tools, and you're going to learn how to do data analysis. Actually, I'll teach you myself, and the other people teach you. This research, quantitative research, focuses on measuring. Keyword here is measurement. You are measuring variables, right? You are here to measure variables. You are here to test. Yeah. You are here to test the hypothesis, right? You are here to test the hypothesis. Or testing the already existing theories. Or maybe you want to establish, the pattern or the relationships between the variables. You want to start the relationships between these variables. Let's say you want to understand how the cells of, say, ice cream are affected by increase in temperature. So you have two different variables. You want to understand how this variable affects the other variable, okay? You want to, for example, understand how, say, investments affect the gross domestic product, GDP, okay? Those are examples of quantitative research. You want to know how, let's say, you want to understand how the cells, the cells, the increase in the cells of a certain product leads to maybe an increase in the profitability of the company or overall profitability and all that. The idea here is that you want to check the relationship between the variables. You want to test the theories that are already existing. You want to measure the variables, pick some measurements. Yeah. Usually here you use very large sample sizes, right? Very large sample sizes, above 30. You need a large sample size for you to do a quantitative study. Yeah, different from the qualitative one. Qualitative, you can even have maybe 5 people to interview and then you're good. Collect data. You could have 10, whatever number, as long as you reach the saturation point. So that's how the quantitative study is done. But when it comes to the methods of collecting data, different from qualitative, quantitative uses surveys, right? They use surveys, questionnaires, short or brief questions. Short or brief questions are asked. Then these are not open-ended questions, closed-ended questions are asked. Are you male or female? Someone says, I'm male. Are you what? Are you married? No, I'm married. What grade did you end? How old are you? What? People are giving you short answers. Then we are able to during the analysis, we are able now to summarize these variables and do the measurements, express them as percentages. So it's quite easier. The same, quantitative study that you hear about, these we have already made mention that they require statistical analysis. You could use experiments as well. Usually in the sciences, they use more of quantitative studies because most of the things and the issues that they deal with, they are measurable. Yeah, they need to measure using numbers. So in a nutshell, quantitative for what? For measurement, okay? We use quantitative for measurements, all right? When we are studying the phenomena or the event that can easily be measured, okay? We use quantitative. Let me go over them one more time, briefly, that you may understand, okay? And I will now present them as the differences between the two, the major differences between the two. One, let me put you qualitative the other side. Qualitative, this is quantitative. So this one, quantitative, we said it tests the claims or hypotheses, right? Then the other side, qualitative, is done to formulate those claims, hypotheses. So you formulate the hypothesis using qualitative studies. You understand this better when we get into doing, how we formulate the hypothesis. But here, this one is expressed using numbers. Here you use words. People express themselves using words. The sample size here is large, but the other side, the sample size is what? Is smaller. Here you use the statistical analysis, right? But the other side, you can use maybe content analysis, thematic analysis. So you interpret issues here, interpretivism. So basically, that's what we have under, quantitative as well as the qualitative research. Before we go, I think it's important to also think of, can there be a possibility of combining two of them? Maybe that's the question. Can you combine quantitative research, combining it with the qualitative and quantitative? If you now happen to add the quantitative in the same paper, quantitative and the qualitative in the same paper, that will become mixed method. All right? That is now part B, part D of the question I'm explaining. It becomes mixed method approach, where within the same research, you are studying the issues that can be quantified, all right, expressed in numerical terms. And on the other side, you study issues that can be qualified, expressed using the words. Can't be quantified. You're dealing with issues such as opinions, experiences, perceptions of the people. For example, what are the perceptions? How do the people perceive this? And people are explaining what their perception is. So that's quite different. So you could have one single study, but it has the research questions, as you're going to see when we get detailed. The research questions that are there within the same paper, others require that you collect numerical data. Then others, for example, we have questions such as, why is this like this? How is this done? Those are qualitative, approach. So in that study, it means you will combine both quantitative as well as the qualitative, because you have both aspects that require, numerical data as well as the qualitative data. Yeah. So that's it. That's that, non-numerical data. So we have learned about the three types of research approaches that we have. We have quantitative as well as what? Qualitative. I think you now know the difference between the two, right? And you do know that when you combine the two, you produce a mixed research model. Any questions?